Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're taking the sources you've shared and delivering the insight straight to you. Today we're focusing on one of Utah's most really baffling unsolved violent crimes. The 2016 double homicide in South Ogden. It claimed the lives of 24-year-old Cyle VanKomen and his 61-year-old neighbor, Kevin Nelson.
Yeah, and this deep dive is really a forensic and criminological audit of, well, a 10-minute act of terror. The sources we have, surveillance video, police interviews, detailed crime reports, they all paint this picture of cold, tactical precision.
Right.
But the core mystery is how. How, with high-quality video of three masked guys, a really tight timeline, and a survivor.
It was a survivor, yeah.
How is this case still ice cold 8 years later?
That's the heart of it, isn't it? That's the enigma we're trying to crack for you. Our mission is to understand the tactical sophistication of the crime and then why that sophistication was just completely undermined by moments of seemingly unnecessary, brutal chaos. I mean, how did a clearly targeted, planned hit devolve into something that claimed an elderly bystander and left a critically wounded witness?
And that really starts with the context. South Ogden, specifically the 3600 block of Ogden Avenue, it's a quiet residential neighborhood.
Right. Not a high-crime area.
Not at all. So the perpetrators chose this location. They had to arrive with intent, with a plan. This wasn't some smash and grab on a busy street. They walked in and they knew exactly where they were going.
Okay, so let's unpack that. This calculated intent. Let's look at the location itself. The sources are really crucial here in defining the nature of the house. 3636 Ogden Avenue. Police acknowledged a key nuance pretty early on, didn't they? They called it a social hub.
Yes, and that distinction is absolutely vital for profiling the motive. Police Chief Darren Park was careful. He described it as a house where people gathered to, quote, drink beer and smoke marijuana. But he was also really firm in cautioning against victim blaming. He stressed these were not inherently bad people.
So why does that nuance matter? I mean, for the people who planned this attack.
Well, because it defines the target profile. A social hub or a party house, it usually invites different risks than a hardened location of organized commerce, like a so-called trap house.
Right.
A social hub is more likely to draw, low-level personal grudges, maybe scores being settled over petty debts or personal slights. Motive B in our outline.
Right, something personal.
Exactly. Whereas a hardened location, that's where you see professional rivals or high-stakes robbery attempts. The level of tactical overkill here, three masked men with immediate lethal intent. It suggests that if it was a personal grievance, they treated it like a professional mission.
And the victims themselves really highlight this duality. Cyle VanKomen, 24 years old, he was the anchor. He's described as charismatic, a magnet for people. If you were one of the attackers, he was the reason you were there. He was the focal point.
And then you have the profound, just gut-wrenching tragedy of Kevin Nelson, 61 years old, a beloved neighbor. They called him Gramps or Grandpa Nelson.
Just
a neighbor, an audiophile, a Denver Broncos fan. He was simply visiting the house, which was, routine for him. His death is the first major clue that the plan went horribly wrong. Or perhaps horribly right, depending on what the killers actually intended.
Well, the decision to execute him, a bystander who was clearly not the target, it immediately signals a tactical shift, doesn't it?
It does.
It implies panic, or worse, a cold-blooded commitment to leaving absolutely zero witnesses.
Exactly. When you eliminate a bystander, you instantly escalate the crime's profile.
Yeah.
You invite 10 times the investigative scrutiny, the outrage.
Sure.
This action it's almost a guaranteed commitment to life in prison if you're caught. It's what criminologists call a scorched earth strategy.
And speaking of witnesses, we have the enigma of the third victim, the 20-year-old Hispanic male who survived catastrophic injuries.
Right, shot in the jaw and neck.
His fight for life right after the crime meant investigators lost that vital golden hour.
Not only did they lose the immediate chance to question a witness about descriptions, voices, where they ran, but his location also raises immediate questions.
How so?
He was found critically injured, likely in the backyard. So, did he run? Does that indicate a chaotic confrontation inside? Or was he shot outside during the approach or the exit? His survival suggests that, despite the execution-style force they used on the others, the killers were hasty. They didn't confirm the death on at least one person, which that doesn't fit the planned precision of their entry.
That brings us right to the timeline.
Yeah.
Our sources make it so clear this wasn't an impromptu fight. It was a hunt.
A hunt executed with a terrifying level of control. Phase 1 was just pure intelligence gathering, the stalking.
The video shows this.
Oh, yeah. Surveillance captured the three of them, moving slowly, lurking, peering into windows, crouching in the yard well before the attack. They were assessing occupancy. They knew there were 5 males inside initially.
Well, we were waiting.
They were waiting, calculating the attacker-to-victim ratio, waiting for the optimal moment to strike.
And this is where just the sheer randomness of fate collides with the killer's cold calculation. The pivotal event, the trigger. It's something you could never predict. We're calling it the hot pocket window.
It's incredible. At approximately 7:45 p.m., Cyle's brother, Brock VanKomen, and a stepbrother decided to leave the house. They walked to a nearby store for what they thought would be a few minutes to grab Hot Pockets before they all went bowling.
A quick errand, the kind of mundane thing that happens in every house every night. But for the 3 men lurking in the shadows, that was the signal.
That was the trigger event. 2 men left. The ratio was instantly cut from 5 potential victims to 3. The perpetrators calculated their moment had arrived.
And the window of violence that followed was just terrifyingly brief. It starts at 7:46 p.m.
Yeah.
10 minutes. All this carnage, executing 2 people, wounding a third. It all happened in less time than it takes to cook a Hot Pocket in a conventional oven.
And reports suggest the confrontation was instantaneous. Immediate lethal force with what police described as execution-style wounds.
So no negotiation.
No negotiation, no lengthy searching, just immediate violence. The speed is a clear sign the objective was not simple robbery. It was targeted elimination, whether for revenge, debt, or to stop recognition.
But if the violence was chaotic and immediate, the escape was the exact opposite. The suspects maintained control during their exfiltration.
The video of the escape is a critical piece of behavioral evidence. As they flee, one suspect is captured jumping a fence, and this is crucial. He stows a handgun into a bag before continuing his escape.
He doesn't drop it, he stows it.
He stows it. This is not panic. A panicked criminal drops the weapon, maybe fumbles it over the fence. This shows presence of mind, physical dexterity, and a high level of forensic awareness. They secured the evidence.
So we have a crime defined by cold, tactical planning on the way in, terrifying speed during the act, and highly controlled, forensically aware behavior on the way out. Let's move to the behavioral fingerprint they left behind.
The triad structure 3 offenders is immediately tactical. It implies a hierarchy, assigned roles. We are not looking at 3 guys who just happened to be together and decided to kick in a door.
And you can read those roles from grainy surveillance footage.
You can infer them from nonverbal communication and movement. In typical home invasion typologies, you have a leader who dictates the pace, a control who subdues victims, and a lookout or support.
Right.
The video shows this hierarchy. One figure is seen beckoning another forward. One is always slightly separated, maybe watching the street. They are a team. They've operated together before.
Okay, now, let's talk about the masks. They weren't just using scarves or bandanas.
No.
One of the suspects was specifically noted for using a rigid, full-face plastic mask, like a paintball mask. Why something so specific?
The choice of gear is incredibly telling. A rigid mask, a full face covering, it implies a profound, overwhelming fear of recognition.
More than just a bandana.
Way more. A simple covering grants general anonymity. A full mask suggests the killers either knew the victims socially or they believed the victims would recognize something specific about their faces, their voices, their head shape. This immediately points to intimacy or proximity to Cyle's social circle, which fits that profile of younger males, maybe teens or early 20s.
But the ultimate investigative lead, it's not a mask or a weapon. It's the way one of them walks. Tell us more about the lanky gait.
This is a golden clue for investigators. Forensic analysis focused intensely on the biomechanics, the distinct stride and lanky build of one of the suspects. Think of your gait as a physical, behavioral fingerprint. It's incredibly difficult to consciously alter your natural walk, especially when you're fleeing a murder scene under extreme duress.
So while they covered their faces and wore generic clothing, their internal structure, their own body, betrayed them.
Precisely. The gait is consistent. It involves muscle memory, weight distribution, things that are unique to the individual. That visual signature, the way the lanky suspect moves, is now a primary lead that you can potentially quantify and compare.
Okay, so let's tie all these behavioral clues together. We have the careful stalking, the team structure, the sophisticated exit, but also the chaotic, unnecessary murder of Kevin Nelson. How do we synthesize the motive here? Robbery, targeted hit, or silencing witnesses?
We need to analyze this through the lens of rational choice theory, but specifically bounded rationality.
Okay, what does that mean?
The initial action, the stalking, waiting for two people to leave, that's perfectly rational. They're calculating risk versus benefit. The benefit was maximizing their chance of success.
So where did the rationality break down?
It broke down during the execution phase. That's why we call it bounded rationality. The killer's ability to make optimal, logical decisions was just. It was overwhelmed by the pressure of the moment. If the initial benefit was settling a small drug debt, the ultimate cost, the double homicide, the media explosion, a lifetime manhunt, it just drastically exceeded that benefit.
Killing Kevin Nelson makes no logical sense in the context of a minor grievance.
None at all. It signals either immediate panicked rage or an abrupt realization that they had been recognized.
Ah,
If Cyle or the survivor recognized a voice, a pair of shoes, an eye, the entire mission instantly changes from a targeted assault to a full-scale effort to eliminate all witnesses. That necessity, driven by fear, it bounded their rational behavior, leading to the murder of an innocent man. That's the core contradiction.
we have so much information. A defined motive profile, clear video evidence of 3 distinct individuals, specific identifiers like the gate. Why 8 years later are these guys still walking free?
Superior forensic awareness. That's the key to why this remains cold. Think about the checklist. They retained the murder weapon.
We saw it on the video.
Yep. They likely wore gloves and full body coverings because there's no public report of DNA matching CODIS, the national database. And crucially, they vanished like ghosts. No vehicle description from the immediate area.
So they either parked miles away or had a pickup coordinated.
Exactly. This level of operational security it's frightening, especially for individuals who might be as young as their early 20s.
It's a fascinating contrast, actually, with the history of violence in that region. You think of the 1974 hi-fi murders in Ogden, a shocking, horrific crime. Those killers were caught because of sloppy evidence disposal. They used the victim's car, left traceable evidence.
But these South Ogden perpetrators were forensically meticulous in comparison.
Absolutely. The South Ogden killers neutralized all the easy physical evidence.
Yeah.
This wasn't sloppy, panic-driven violence. It was execution with a clean getaway strategy.
And this means that traditional detective work door-to-door interviews, physical evidence matching, that's largely run its course. The investigation is now firmly in the realm of advanced forensics.
So what does that path forward look like? Where does the investigation focus now?
The future really relies on technology and patience. First, genetic genealogy, or FGG.
Right.
If investigators have even a minute trace of touch DNA, a single hair, some skin cells on that fence post when the suspect jumped it, FGG can be used to build deep family trees
And find distant relatives.
and work their way inward to find the killer. It's painstaking, but it's been the game changer for so many cold cases.
It's the great hope.
It is, because it bypasses the need for a direct CODIS match. Second, and maybe equally vital for this specific case, is leveraging that lanky gate lead through AI and machine learning.
So taking that distinct walk and turning it into quantifiable data.
Exactly. AI can quantify the unique angles, the acceleration, the stride length, the entire biomechanical fingerprint. Then, investigators can use algorithms to compare that gait against huge databases of video. The goal is to find a single, quantifiable match that a human might miss. That lanky suspect is leaving a digital trail every time they walk.
In the end, this deep dive brings us back to the sheer terror of the invaded sanctuary and just the random nature of fate. Survival hinged on a decision to step out for a 10-minute errand to buy Hot Pockets, while the decision to pick a neighborly visit determined death.
And that contrast keeps the case active. The killers left a detailed digital footprint in that grainy video, and they left a living witness. Their identities are known to at least 2 other people, their partners in crime and the survivor who saw what happened.
Which raises our final thought for you, the listener, to mull over. The police strategy has always relied on the eventual collapse of loyalty among the 3 of them, that code of silence will fray under the weight of time and fear. But given the technological advancements we've discussed, from genetic genealogy to AI analysis of that lanky gait, what do you think is more likely to break this case after 8 years? A technological breakthrough or the simple human failure of loyalty among the 3 killers? That's your deep dive for today.